From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the fields and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, stories, and the people that keep our community alive.
This is the heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Sarina, we are all politics this week.
Yes, we certainly are.
We do not have our normal just mover and shaker and charity, but we've had two great political guests, our second one here today. We have Dan Weldon, who is a congressional candidate for District 14, which is Kathy Castor's district in Tampa. Dan, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm greatly excited to be here.
Thanks for being here.
And we're so excited. I mean, you're so passionate, clearly, to run in this political arena and against an incumbent that has really been a voice for 20 years now, I think.
Absolutely.
Two decades. So what inspired you?
And a dynasty, really.
Yeah,
I mean, with her mother, she's really a political dynasty in Tampa.
Are we going to make him feel uncomfortable or what? I'm just kidding, Dan. So, Dan, what got you inspired?
So, truthfully, the American dream right now is under attack, and it's something that we need young people to step up in this time. Otherwise, what we're going to have happen in this country is socialism. And I don't say that to be shocking. I genuinely believe that if we don't change the path we're going on, we will have socialism in this country. And for me, this all kind of started with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. If you had asked me just 6 months ago, would I be doing this?
Like him.
It's funny. I have gotten that a lot recently, and I find it very flattering. I mean, he was such a great person. Yeah. He was such a great man. And it was such a tragic loss, not just for Republicans, the conservative movement, but just America in general. I mean, he was one of the only people that actually went to college campuses and engaged young people, something that I don't think a lot of politicians or people in general really do without purely mocking. And so what happened to him, kind of getting back to your original question, it was something that deeply shook my core. And I think it's something that a lot of young people, quite frankly, have felt. And so it was somewhere I realized that I need to get involved in the process. And after months of prayer and talking to different people in the community, I realized that this is the best way that I can make a difference and get involved and help in some of those issues that Charlie really cared about and fought for.
Well, I want to jump right in and talk some nuts and bolts of politics. And I know Sarina's going to want to ask you all the feel-good questions.
Absolutely.
What makes you think that you can win this race? Because I, as a former political consultant, have been a Republican my whole life, was a political consultant for 28 years. I would always advise candidates, don't run for something unless you think you can win. This is arguably one of the most difficult seats for a Republican to run in the state of Florida. It is drawn for a Democrat, right? The way that we gerrymander things. Kathy Castor, as we talked about before, between her and her mother, has fantastic name ID, which is basically the mother's milk of American politics, that and money. And she typically wins by percentages of 60 plus and higher, just depending on who's running against her. What makes you think you can beat Kathy Castor?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's this time and moment that we're in. I think politics, a lot of people look at things in just these isolated incidences, but you have to look at everything that's going on in this country. We have this affordability issue. And a big thing I talk about a lot is affordability for young people to buy their first home, affordability for healthcare, people, being able to have their children and go to daycare and things like that. We also have a lot of issues when it comes just even buying groceries and simple day-to-day living expenses, especially because of the inflation that we saw that got so bad after President Biden. And so it's the time currently where something like that can happen. And actually, it's this issue that people think it's a much more liberal district than it actually is. If you look at the numbers now, Cook Political Report has it at a D+5, which is within the margin of flipping. I mean, I think there's currently 5 or 6 members of the House right now that are in that kind of a situation already. And on top of that, when you look at Kathy Castor's record, it is very weak on these issues that affect so many people in Tampa Bay. One thing I like to tell people a lot that I think is very indicative of this is she's been in office for 20 years, kind of like you said. During that time, she has only passed 2 bills that she's sponsored. And those 2 bills were the renaming of post offices. And something where we need somebody who's actually going to fight for Tampa families, fight for this affordability. And quite frankly, just from my talks in the community, there's this energy and there's this passion for people to want more, to want better for their lives. And I think when you look and talk to people, they recognize that. Because no matter if you're a Republican or Democrat or independent, this issue affects every single one of us. And we have a candidate or a congresswoman who is very weak on this actual issue that affects every single person, it creates this opportunity where we can win this race.
Well, clearly, though, you are a fighter. I mean, you're 29 years old. You're young. You're but so ambitious. And when I call you a fighter, everything that you have done, like you are a lawyer, and you work at Morgan & Morgan, but specifically, you're working in a field because of something personal,
Yes.
very personal that happened to you, and you're fighting for the greater good. Can you share that story with us, Dan?
Yes. So the reason I got into personal injury was because when I was in law school, I was walking home one night when I crossed the street, made sure I did everything right, by the way. I mean, I looked both ways. I waited for the light. I literally waited for the light to turn green for me to be able to go when you see the little man. Because I was like, I'm not in a hurry that night. And I stepped out into the street, and a driver driving a truck hit me at about 20, 25 miles an hour, blew through me. I'm a big guy, and I flew about 30 feet from the sidewalk. Had internal bleeding because my rib punctured my spleen. Was in the hospital for 3 days, had to have surgery. And it was something where I couldn't even walk properly for over a month after that.
You're lucky to be alive.
I am lucky to be alive or not have a more serious injury where I can't walk anymore. And so it was something where I wanted to help people who are in the same situation that I was in and fight for people. And so, Morgan & Morgan is the best at what they do, quite frankly. I know everybody sees the ads.
For the people.
For the people. But it's true. I mean, they're the biggest law firm, and you can do so many different things there. And I actually went with them as my law firm when I was in that crash, and it was just a great opportunity to be able to do the same kind of thing that I had been through.
Yeah, it's the broader picture. I think it shows that it really shares a lot about your character. You are from Florida as well. You also, when you talked about the University of Florida and going to law school, you also played football.
That's
an
true.
Undergrad. Now, how playing football and being on a sport, on a team like that, how is that helped shape you and what you're doing now?
Well, I wasn't just a athlete or a football player for the University of Florida. I was actually a walk-on. I always like to make that distinction because it was something where,
So I walk on.
Well, I had this dream as a little kid, okay? I had a little poster above my bedroom that said, gotta be a Gator, and it was a little kid dreaming of, being a Gator quarterback one day. And I wasn't a quarterback, I was a linebacker, but I had to really fight to be able to get there. I actually didn't make the team my first time trying out. I made it the second time, but that took a lot. I mean, I was devastated. It was something where, you dream of this moment your entire life and you work so hard. I mean, I was out the summer before that fall, working out twice a day, doing the most ridiculous workouts you can possibly think of to try to put my body in the right position to make the team. And when I lost, I was gutted, quite frankly, that I didn't make the team. But the big thing about me is when I believe in something, I fight as hard as possible for it. And so I came back, I started working even harder and kept up and made the team the second time. But being a walk-on's not easy. I mean, you don't have a scholarship. So back then, I know we talk about NIL now, but I didn't have NIL. I was relying on student loans and having to do regular classes. But on top of that, I started different Republican groups and conservative groups during that time because it was something where I believed in those kinds of things. And it was just, when I believe in something, I fight very, very hard for it.
So if you're elected to Washington, what was the first thing that you would do to try to help benefit the people that you represent here in the 14th Congressional District?
So I would start off with tackling that issue of affordability, especially for first-time home buyers. Right now, the median age of a first-time home buyer in the United States is 40 years old.
Wow.
40?
40, the oldest it's ever been. It's a massive problem because when you talk about the direction of society, we want to make sure that young people are able to buy a home, have kids, raise families, live good, meaningful lives. And a lot of that starts with just the ability to call a place home. There's so many different statistics that get into just the type of people that when you have a home, for example, you invest in your community, you're rooted somewhere, you get to know your neighborhoods. Exactly. And so one of the first things I think, and it's something that Donald Trump has already asked Congress to pass, is the banning institutional buyers. Think Blackstone. These companies that own oftentimes 100 or more homes. In Hillsborough County alone, now we're in Pinellas County now, but in Hillsborough County, over 4% of all homes are owned by institutional buyers that own 100 or more homes.
Wow.
And it's a very similar number here in Pinellas County as well. I believe it's about 4%. And it's this massive issue. I mean, that's tens of thousands of homes that people could be living in. And it creates a lot of issues with communities because these institutional buyers are more likely to raise prices on rent. They're more likely to, if they sell the house for the future, sell at a higher price than it would have been otherwise if it had been for a mom and pop. And it's just this massive issue that we're currently seeing where young people are being priced out of the housing market.
And you have actually a very sweet personal story of your
Yes.
own, right? You've been married to your wife for a year and a half, about 2 years. It'll
Yes.
be in September. It'll
Yes.
be 2 years, and you had the opportunity to buy her grandmother's home.
Yes, we did.
Isn't that such?
That's cool.
That's such a sweet story. Do you
Yes.
mind sharing that with us, Dan?
Yes, it was an opportunity where I was actually a prosecutor at the time, and it was another reason I ended up having to move into the private sector. We had this incredible opportunity. It was very unfortunate, obviously, that her grandmother passed, but it was something that was very important to my wife. Family's a big thing for us, and so being able to live in the house and keep the family history there. We live in the exact same house, the exact same community. Her neighbors are still there, and they were lifelong friends for over 30 years.
Oh my goodness.
40 years they lived there. So it's a great part to be a part of a community, and it's in the Midtown West Tampa area, and it's a very like we have these giant mango trees that she planted well over 40 years ago that are now like 50, 60 feet tall, and most people don't even have mango trees that are
Right.
to begin with, even ones that are 50,
Not
60
big.
feet tall. And so there's a lot of these memories and core traditions that like my wife always grew up with. That we get to keep continuing. Hopefully, when we have kids in the near future, we'll be able to share those same memories and kind of keep on that tradition.
All right, I want to get back to politics.
Yes. No, we weave in the personal. We weave in
we're
the
back- we're
politics.
back and forth.
Right,
A little bit of
right,
both.
we're back and forth. But but the stories, honestly, I feel then you remember it. Like when Dan was talking about how important it is for young people to buy homes,
Yeah.
and then you tie it into your own
Right.
personal story.
Yeah. You should
Right.
work on his campaign.
Christopher, I mean,
She's friends with Kathy. She might be in the doghouse with Kathy now.
Oh no,
I'm
She's friends with everyone.
I'm a friend of the people.
I love that. I love that.
Serena is Switzerland.
I am Switzerland. We don't have our Switzerland
we
flag
took
on
the
here,
Swiss flag
but,
down.
but
We don't want
yes.
to confuse people. No, I want to ask you. So she's a very formidable opponent.
Yes.
High name ID. I believe that there are two most important things in running a political campaign are name ID and money. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do to raise money? How much do you think it's going to take, and how are you going to do it?
It's going to take several $1 million. I'm going to be honest. It's something I'm very aware of. And what we're going to focus on is especially those small dollar donors. I think it's something where you start a movement, you can get people behind you, and it's this kind of situation where we've seen a lot of people do it. And one of those things that I think Republicans really struggle with is having energy, starting grassroots. We've seen it in the past, but it seems that we've lost the recipe to actually do that. And it's something that we're currently working with. We're already leading in the fundraising for the Republican primary. But it's something where, we have to make sure that we engage and actually talk to people about this. And I think as this goes on, you build coalitions, you talk to different people, you get different people involved in the situation. I mean, this week alone, I'm giving 3 or 4 talks. I'm going to several different events. I'm calling people pretty much every spare minute I have because you're right. It is going to be a hard race to win, but you know what? If it's the right thing to do, you have to put in the work. And that's something that I'm willing to do, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that we're in that position to win this race.
I should know this, but I just quit paying attention to that district because it's just a foregone conclusion in my mind what's going to happen, which I hope you're successful in challenging. But does it still include...
Can we not always have the glass at half full?
We'll try.
We could be, I mean, I'm half full. I'm sorry, you're half empty, right? I'm
yes.
sorry.
No, it's something it's something I deal with all the time, okay? People always say this to me, and you know what's funny? I'll give you a statistic, okay, or facts. In November of 2024, the voter registration advantage for Democrats in this seat was about 64,000. Today, that number is 19,000, and the numbers continue to trend in our favor. And that doesn't even include potential with redistricting and some of these other things.
Right.
I mean,
Which is
President
going to
Trump.
happen.
Yeah, and I can't speak about
Well,
that.
it's
I mean,
gonna
we'll
happen.
see what happens, but all I can say is this district's winnable today as it's drawn.
Does it still include parts of South St. Pete?
Yes, it does.
It
It's
does.
basically, I call it the eastern third of Pinellas County.
Okay.
It goes all the way up to the Skyway.
You'd be my congressman.
Yeah? I'll do the best job I
Be an
can.
improvement.
Have you seen is your law firm behind you as well? Your employers behind you? Or
They're supportive. It's one of those things where, they're a very political law firm. They've had people run in the past before. They supported people before. I told them, and they were very supportive of me doing this. And, it's very good because, it's very important to make sure that you still, kind of have a salary. I'm a young guy, okay?
Right,
A big issue I run into is, Kathy Castor, when she first started Congress, she already was worth $1.5 million. Now she's worth $15 million. We can talk about that a little bit. But I'm not rich. And it's one of the things I think actually helps me in this race because I can actually relate to a lot of the struggles that everyday people are going through in this district. I mean, you go see my car outside. It's a 2015 Nissan Altima that I had to buy off one of my friends because I could not afford to buy a used car in the used car mart when I was a prosecutor. Had 150,000 miles on it. It was from one of my best friends. And he gave me a steal on the price compared to the market at the time. But it's something that I had to do. And I'm talking about it because it's something that so many people in the Tampa Bay area are experiencing. It's why so many people, unfortunately, we're seeing leave the Tampa area because they can no longer afford to live here with how high the prices are getting. I mean, we had some of the highest housing prices in the entire country in 2024.
Well, I mean, including with what you said when you were talking about buying the home, you said that you were a prosecutor and you went into the private sector probably because, as you share, to make a better living. I mean, a prosecutor is a very commendable job, but it's a lot of work and it's
not as good a pay as
right.
Well, me and my wife also, it was unfortunately at the time, we also decided to get married before that. And then with her grandmother's passing, we had a very short window to decide, are we going to buy the home or not? And so it was a little bit of a tough call. I'll tell you right now, if money was not an option, I would have stayed a prosecutor. I loved working for Susie Lopez. I mean, it was just knowing that you get to do something like that every single day and really be a public servant was incredible. It's so hard in this time. I mean, I have over $170,000 in student loans at this time right now. So on top of that and paying just down the interest alone is about $1,000 a month. On top of everything else in the cost of living, it just wasn't affordable for me to keep up that life.
Okay, this is a little bit off topic, but because under Biden we had all this discussion about forgiving student loan debt, which I am personally opposed to. What's your take on that? If student loan debt forgiveness were before the Congress, would you be in favor of it or not?
I'm not in favor of forgiveness. What I am in favor for is reforming the system. We have this massive problem right now with student loans where, one, you have a lot of universities that are giving out, quite frankly, worthless degrees. And they're the ones who are profiting off of this. Right now, we're seeing a job market where the highest percentage of college graduates are making up the unemployment people. At 1 in 4 unemployed people right now have college degrees. It's the worst it's ever been. Also, student loans are one of, if not the only, loans that you cannot discharge through bankruptcy. It's this massive issue because now we have a lot of people who are going this job market. And we're not even talking about AI and the potential AI anxiety that, with jobs that could be leaving the market in the near future. And so it's one of those things where we need to tackle the issue. I think, as conservatives, we believe in personal responsibility. We have to make sure that the system works for people. And I think that means making it so that way, one, student loans are be able to be discharged through bankruptcy, or at least hold these schools accountable that are giving these ridiculous BS degrees where students then can't get a job afterwards.
BS is in BS, not
not bachelor of science. We're not going to say what the other
real
BS
is.
Dan, how important is it to have, going back to the personal side, to having a partner and that support group during this time and during an election? Yeah,
I can tell you, I can talk about my wife forever. I am just the luckiest person in the world. I hope every single person can find a partner that loves them the way my wife does. I mean, there's just this way that when you are loved by somebody in such an unconditional way that you know that no matter what the world throws at you, that they will always have your back. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm a young guy taking on a very big race. Okay, a lot of people would look at you like, hey, what are you doing?
That's what he asked you, right?
Yeah. Well, and when I told my wife, she didn't say that. She said, yeah, it's about time.
That's great.
Because it's something that she had always seen in me, and she knew that it was something that I could do. But she believed in me from the second I told her.
That's
And just
fantastic.
knowing that you have that unconditional love and support is just the most important thing. And I love my wife so much. I'm so beyond blessed.
And I'm sure she feels the same.
I hope so.
Serena, if she had her way, this is all we would be talking about the rest of the show. She likes to talk about love.
I do. No, but I mean, honestly, clearly, you are so passionate, and with everything you've done in your life so far, you do believe in doing the right thing. That's your job right now.
And he's a go-getter.
You are. You certainly are. I mean, no matter what, it is, I will say on the record, it's so comforting to have young people like you here.
Yeah.
You know?
Get involved.
The future of America.
I mean, the way I view it is we always talk about getting young people involved in politics. And you know what? We're not going to see change in this country unless the people who want to see change actually step up. And that may be me and maybe other people around the country just actually getting involved in things like I have a good friend who's running for the education board here in Hillsborough County who's a young mom, right? It's all these different people who want to see the actual change in society and actually stepping up to be that change. I mean, you don't do it from just sitting back. I mean, literally, I mean, it's 250th anniversary of the founding of our nation. I mean, our founding fathers weren't just people who stood by. They saw something that was wrong and they stood up and did something that no one had ever done before.
And they were young.
And they were young, yes.
Very young.
Many of our founding fathers were under the age of 30 and 40.
Well, Dan, is there a website that people can find out more information about you or make a campaign contribution if they're so inclined?
Absolutely. You can go to tampadan.com.
Tampadan.com.
Dan.
That sounds
I
like
know.
a law firm.
Love it.
No, I mean, it's this easy thing to remember. I mean, I think a big thing about politics is people are too afraid to have fun. It's one of our biggest issues right now. We're so divided. But politics can be fun, and it should be. And so that's one of the reasons we went with Tampa Dan, because you know what? No one else is doing
Right.
that. They're not thinking about having fun, but you're not going to forget it now when you hear Tampa Dan, okay?
Tampadan.com.
Exactly.
I like
Love
it.
it. We
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
Fantastic. Dan Weldon, appreciate you joining us here today, and we wish you the best. At least I do. And she does, too.
Of
just not the
course,
same
no,
day.
of course,
Secretly.
no, of course, no. No matter what, you are certainly, you have an amazing future, and we're blessed to have you in the Tampa community.
And you're going to kill me, aren't you?
I love
Every
you
story
guys.
shared
Adds another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
from courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our neighborhood strong.
Thanks for watching The Heartbeat of Tampa Bay. You're great. Appreciate it.
That was awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you guys so much.
No, you're
That was
awesome.
fantastic.